What's up, Buffalo Fanatics? Josh Allen here. Just wanted to say, go Bills.
Good evening, good evening. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Buffalo Fanatics all around the world. Grace and peace to everybody who is joining me in this heartfelt edition of Rated Rev, brought to you by BetUS on the Buffalo Fanatics Network. I'm glad that you guys are with me. I am so glad to be here with everybody. I will admit, this is very difficult. Okay. And so I asked you guys for your prayers to help me get through this tonight. I know it's hard on everybody right now, especially when you consider everything, right? And you try to put everything in perspective. It's kind of difficult to even think about how we could move on from something like this and even, come on live and have a conversation about football when you consider just the gravity of everything that has transpired since Monday night with our brother Damar Hamlin. But as difficult as this is, I do believe that is needed. At least for me, I'll say this. I'll speak for myself, okay? Because I do understand, and I'm really trying to be respectful for everybody. I'm here. Um, I'm not doing this tonight for the fanatics. I'm not doing this show tonight for the likes, for the subscribers, for any of that. For me personally, this is therapy for me, for Rev. You say, Rev, I mean, you're a reverend, you're a minister. How is it that you need therapy? Or look, at the end of the day, I'm a man. I'm human, just like everybody else is, regardless of my title and what I do. This is difficult for everybody. It's difficult for myself, and I really had to get to the point um, to where I was able to come on here tonight and have this show, because I felt as though it was needed. It's needed for me, and maybe it's needed for you. Maybe you need an outlet um, to have a conversation, and if that's the case, then consider this your outlet tonight. Um, Tonight's show, I mean, yeah, I have some topics and I have somewhat of an outline, but for the most part, this show tonight, we're just gonna be, and I say this all the time, even when I'm ministering, I just want to be led. I just want to be led. And if you guys have questions and there's something on your mind or on your heart that you wanna speak to, feel free. Feel free. The floor is yours. Um, Drop it in the chat, and I'll do my best to read through them and to put them on the air as I see fit. But uh, this is going to be this is tough, right? This is tough, but at the end of the day, I am heavily encouraged. Okay, I'm heavily encouraged. I have strong faith, right, in the God that I serve, who gives me strength to go on. But even beyond myself, um, I am praying hard for Damar Hamlin, for his family, for his loved ones, as I know so many of you are doing, and the NFL community around the world is doing it. He has tremendous support, not just in the nation, but around the world right now, and I'm encouraged by that. I'm encouraged by the news that we're getting, even though it's little. I'm still encouraged by it, and we're gonna have that conversation. We're gonna talk about that tonight. And so, I mean, we're definitely gonna continue to be praying for Damar Hamlin and his family. Um, and we're gonna do our best to get through this show and really our lives. Um, just like just like Damar is fighting right now. I think it only best for us to continue on and to fight for him. If that means coming together as a united body of believers, then so be it. If that means coming together as a mafia, right, as a family of Bills fans and just NFL fans in general, then so be it. But we're gonna come together collectively and be strengthened tonight, and not just tonight, but in the days ahead. I really believe that. I really believe that. I believe in the power of prayer. I believe in the power of unity, and I'm believing in a positive outlook. Okay, and so that's where I am. That's where I stand. And just a disclaimer, and just let me say this too, because um, as my brother Zbot, had his show last night, I was kind of moderating in the chat, and I, I want to say this: let's all understand the sensitivity of this matter right now, and do our best to be um to do what Damar and his family would like. Is what I'm trying to say. Let's be respectful of one another in here in this chat. I don't want to have to go through this chat, and moderators, I mean, you're going to do it as well, but I don't want to have to go through here and remove anybody because of foolishness. Okay? This is not the time for it. This is not the platform for you to, you know, spew nonsense, um, not even political takes or anything like that. Let's leave that aside. Okay? Tonight and this platform right now is in Damar's name. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's not about anybody. We're coming together for him. Okay. And so let's be respectful in this chat tonight. And I know you guys will do that. I know you guys will do that, and I hate that I had to say that, but I just want to throw that out there just because of some of the things that I saw last night in Zbot's show that I just did not agree with. Um, but so with that being said, let's move on with the show, okay? And everybody in here, man, look here, I so greatly appreciate you guys for joining me tonight. I really do. I am honored. Anytime we get the chance to come together, it's a blessing to me. But especially under the circumstances tonight, I am so glad. I am so glad, and I was sharing with my brothers with the fanatics in our private group tonight. I mean earlier today, and I was saying that what this is going to be tough for me, but I also think that it's a unique opportunity to really bring us all together as best as we can under the current circumstances. And so to see everybody in here right now tonight is a tremendous blessing for me. And I don't take that for granted. Okay, I definitely do not take that for granted. So with that being said, as we continue to move on um, in this show, and God bless you guys. Okay, definitely like Kim Miller says, man, your prayers for him, prayers definitely for Damar Hamlin and his family. Absolutely. And we're going to continue to pray for him. Amen. We're going to continue to pray for him. But as we move on in the show, there I just want to say this, and I hate to kind of relive the moment, but it's you know, what happened. It really put things in perspective for me. Okay, and please just allow me the opportunity just to say this. Um, I am a very emotional person. I'm an emotional fan of the Bills, and there are plenty of times when during a game, um, that I'm up and down. Right? I mean, I ride the roller coaster of the game, and sometimes my emotions get the best of me. And in this world of social media, there are moments in which um, I tweet emotionally. Okay, and Monday night was no different. And hear me out here. And there was a time in the game when because the emotions of the game were very high. All right, we understood the stakes of the game. This is prior to what transpired on the field with Damar Hamlin. It was a huge game, and we're moving with the ebbs and flows of the game, and there was a moment, a play that was made by the Bengals. I think it was by Hayden Hurst, a tight end that was made, and Damar Hamlin was in coverage, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me, right? There's this huge play, and out of emotions of being a fan, okay, I put out a tweet, and maybe you saw it, maybe you didn't, uh, but I put out an emotional tweet, and that tweet was, said, man, Hamlin is, and by the way, Hamlin is garbage or something to that effect. And then no sooner as that happened, as I put that out there, he gets hurt on the field, and it really, I was hurt. I was hurt, and I was faced at that moment with the reality of the situation that these men, these young men, young from to me, I'm and some of their, I'm 41, okay, and these men are young to me. These men put their all into this game to entertain us, and they don't have to do that. They don't. And there are times and there are moments, when we as fans are displeased with performances and whatnot. But after this has happened, again, this is putting everything in perspective from me personally. There should, and maybe you disagree, and that's fine. But for me, there should never come a point, um, in my fandom personally, where I get to the point to where I start talking about said player in a negative way, as I did. That shouldn't happen. And maybe you're saying, well, there's, because I've heard people say, well, you know what, Rev, I mean, there's a difference between, critiquing a player's performance and then critiquing the individual. Um, and I can understand that. But, you know, to each their own, right? You have to follow your own convictions. And I was faced, my own personal convictions at that moment. I felt as though it was wrong. I felt like I was wrong because it is so minute in the grand scheme of things, right? Here I am criticizing a young man, and then moments later, here he is fighting for his life on the field. I am faced with that, and um, how dare I? You know, and so it's again, and maybe I'm just talking in circles here, but as I mentioned earlier at the top of the show, that this is this is therapy for me as well. Okay, and so I'm getting things off of my chest um, tonight, and I hate that in that moment I let my emotions get the best of me, and it's it has allowed me to really look at this game differently, right? Uh, I enjoy this game thoroughly, thoroughly. I have been a fan of the Bills my entire life. My entire life. My dad is from Buffalo, New York, and I became a fan because of him. And at the end of the day, these are young men. These are husbands, fathers, brothers, nephews, whatever the case may be. And they are literally giving everything for this game to entertain us. And it's tough when you see something like this happen, right? And I think that we've all been conditioned um to see players get injured on the field, right? And you just we easily say, "Oh, well, that's part of the game." Injuries are a part of the game, and we've almost become desensitized to it. Uh, and we see these things happening, and even in the most critical situations, we always are looking for a glimmer of hope that this particular player is going to be all right. We automatically believe that everything's going to be fine, um, even if they have to get carted off the field, or whatever the case is. We wait for that thumbs up or that a okay from the player, and in the moment, the stadium may be quiet, but once you get that a-okay from the player and you start to see his teammates, give him dap and love and tap him on the helmet or whatever the case may be, and players from the other team come out there, and the home team or whatever, the crowd begins to applaud. That gives you hope that that player is going to be okay, and it allows you to put that almost, on the back burner because you feel like, okay, well, everything's gonna be fine and we can resume, right? And we can move forward. But I don't think we've ever been, at least not in my lifetime, I've never been faced with a moment like this where you don't get that thumbs up. You don't get that a-okay. You don't get that dap on the head, on the helmet, or you don't see that, the team coming to the player and giving them love as they, you know, um leave the field. We never got that. And that's difficult to digest, right? That's that's tough. There is no we have not gotten any closure from that moment. And it's the entire National Football League, has almost been put on pause, you know, because of how shocking it was. And it's extremely heartbreaking um when you think about that, right? But in the midst of that, in the midst of all of that, there were moments and are moments that we can glean from and that we can take that deserve our attention, that deserve um, our recognition and our applause, if you will. And that's when I want to give some roses. Okay. Rev's roses. Again, I am not making light of the situation at all. And it's hard to find the silver lining in it. But there are people that deserve credit, that deserve our gratitude, that went above and beyond in that moment and still are doing that. That I want to take this time on this platform to do so. Um, First and foremost, um, I have to give a rose to the first responders and all of the medical staff that were present at the game that assisted in Damar's um, situation there, all the way to the medical staff, at the hospital there in Cincinnati, and everybody that was helping him in any capacity. Again, you don't expect something like that to happen on an NFL field to that magnitude, right? But when it did happen, I am so grateful to God that there were first responders who acted promptly and assisting Damar in that moment. They deserve utmost credit, all the flowers we can give them. Because had it not been for them in that moment, we might be faced with something different. And again, I don't want to relive that, but it is a truth, right? It is fact. Damar suffered cardiac arrest on the field. And had it not been for the promptness of the first responders in that stadium, a young man's life could have been taken from him. And so I give all the roses to the first responders that acted in that moment. But not only them, but the entire medical staff at in the hospital in Cincinnati that are continuing to provide care for Damar. They deserve it. Secondly, and I know this may be controversial or whatnot, but come on now. I would like to give roses to the NFL and their decision to postpone the game. We all knew in that moment, once we got an idea of how severe it was, there was no way, there is no way they could conclude this game. When we saw the looks on the faces of the players, Josh Allen to Tre'Davious White and everybody else, right? Even the Bengals players and Joe Burrow and the likes, right? There is no way they could conclude that game. And say what you want, about the whole controversy or misinformation about, the whole 5 minutes and whatever. According to the NFL, and I'm going to lean on them, okay, because that's all we have to lean on. According to them and Troy Vincent, what he said, there was no conversation whatsoever about them playing that game. Maybe Joe Buck and Troy, maybe they misspoke. I don't know where they got that information, but I am going to go based off of what Troy Vincent said and the National Football League has said. That conversation never took place, and I'm going to take their word for it. I'm just glad that the decision was made to postpone that game. There was no way in which they would be able to resume action. And so they definitely, as much as we criticize the NFL for being, such a what's the word I'm looking for? Just being so business minded, right? And almost business first. They got it right in this situation. They got it right. And so they deserve a rose. My third rose, um, and just let me address the situation here. Alex says, hey Rev, are you okay? I'm concerned that you feel guilt over an emotional tweet. As Bills fans, our pain goes deep. Thank you, Alex. No, I do not feel. I don't feel guilt. Um, I do feel responsible for what I say, and as as a as a reverend, as a minister, I think that I need to hold. There needs to be a higher standard. Okay, for me. And again, I'm I'm not making excuses. Okay, but I've said before, the, I get emotional. And that's something that I have to work on in the moment, right? Refraining from certain things. And so there is a level of responsibility that I place upon myself, um, that this situation really put things in perspective and allowed me to see it differently and make a conscious attempt in the future to be careful, to be more careful with what I do. Okay. But thank you for your concern there, LX. Um, thirdly, my third rose that I would like to hand out um, goes to Jordan Rooney. Many of you know Jordan Rooney is Damar Hamlin's marketing representative, and he is currently the spokesperson for the family, for Damar's family. He has been placed in a very difficult situation. At least I say difficult, right? I would imagine it's very difficult because he and Damar are friends. As he's um, said himself, um, going there to check on a friend and then being tasked once there to be the spokesperson for the family, to be the representative for the family, um, in front of the entire world, right? In front of the entire world, as everybody seeks answers and details and so forth and so on. And he has been extremely professional, and his representation of the family's wishes and desires, um, even in the midst of our desire to want more. I think it's okay for us to want more, but we must be careful not to think it's our right to want more. Even though we are getting the bit of information that the family sees fit, we as fans must be content with that. We must respect their wishes and be okay. And um, Jordan has done a phenomenal job. He has done a phenomenal job representing the family, and I'm sure the family appreciates what he's done for them. And I'm sure that once Damar pulls through, he will look back and really appreciate what Jordan has done for him as well. And so kudos to Jordan. I'm glad. that he's giving us, what he's allowed to give us, and doing it with such class. Um, Shout out to him and much respect to him. Um, I'm going through the chat, and again, as I mentioned earlier, I do want to give you guys you all the platform to speak what's on your mind. And so here, this comes from my wife here. She says, Mrs. Rev here, his tweet was posted before the incident and know the severity of the situation. So no, he's a human feeling for another human. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, babe, for that. That's exactly the case. I've got a super chat here. And I do want to say this as well. As um Z-Bot and all of us here at the Buffalo Fanatics have said before, and I want to reiterate tonight, whatever donation is given tonight, whatever super chat is given tonight, 100% of those proceeds will go to Damar Hamlin's GoFundMe account. Okay, 100%. You can be certain of that. Okay, and so this super chat comes in from I am Danny 716. Danny, I so appreciate that. He says, it baffles me how people are getting so dramatic about a player um, getting his life saved on the field, but they aren't for the people who died last week. Danny, I really am not too sure who you're referring to. Maybe you're talking about. I'm assuming you're talking about um, the city of Buffalo and those who lost your life. But I will say this, though I appreciate your donation. Um, I completely disagree with you saying that that people are getting dramatic about a player getting his life saved on the field. Um, in my opinion, uh, that's insensitive. They are not being dramatic about it whatsoever. If anything, you're out of line for saying that. For one, okay. We have never witnessed anything like that, where an individual before our eyes almost lost his life. And I don't really even feel the need to get into it. Okay, so we're gonna move on and end it at that. Um, the next flower that I would love to give. Okay, and yeah, sweetie. Yeah, I saw that late. Anyway, um, it goes out to the Bengals organization. Okay, the Bengals organization from top to bottom. Right, the Bengals organization from top to bottom, and I would like to include Who Day Nation as well. They have been phenomenal in all of this. Right, just the class that was shown from the entire organization was tremendous. The support that they have shown and continue to show is tremendous. And I would like to take this time right now just to read the statement that was given by the Bengals organization. Excuse me, let me take this banner off here for a moment. Um, and it reads as follows: from the Bengals organization. It says, first and foremost, the Bengals continue to send thoughts and prayers to Damar Hamlin and his family. Our hearts are with everyone in this unprecedented time. What we can do is support one another. Last night, meaning Monday night, was supposed to be a great night for the NFL and a great showcase for our hometown. Instead, the human side of our sport became paramount. And in that moment, humanity and love rose to the forefront. As medical personnel undertook extraordinary measures, both teams demonstrated respect and compassion, while fans in the stadium and people around the country bolstered the support for DeMar and love for each other. The Bengals are thankful for the love and compassion shown by all, praying for DeMar. Um, that was extraordinary. And I know that as Bills Mafia, we so greatly appreciate the sentiments of the Cincinnati Bengals organization. Um, that was amazing. And the the efforts, right, and the continued support by them and the fans have been they've really been tremendous, right? They have been tremendous. And um, there was always this love, in the hearts of Bills Mafia for Houday Nation that went back and probably, um, started when the Bengals, and this is in a football perspective, when the Bengals, helped us break the 17-year playoff drought, right? And from that moment, I believe that we were knitted together. Fan bases were knitted together, and that's the beauty, in my opinion, of the sport is that this sport, maybe unlike others, can really galvanize fan bases. And in this particular situation, I would say it can galvanize a nation. When you look at the overwhelming support by the Bengals organization and by the NFL community at large, and you see Bills Mafia and you see so many others, and even those who are outside of the NFL community, um, other sports, right? Other professional sports coming together in unity and solidarity um, in an effort to to pray for and lift up Damar and his family. It's tremendous. It's unlike any other thing that I've been able to witness in my life. The power that lies within sports and how it has the ability to bring us together is I'm almost at a loss for words. And so when I look at the Bengals organization from top to bottom and how they have handled this situation and shown so much grace toward DeMar and his family and the Bills organization, the team, the players, it's remarkable. It's remarkable, right? Um, and Zach Taylor, how about that, right? How about Zach? Zach Taylor, uh, head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals, is a class act, right? The way he has handled the situation, the way he has led that not just the team, the Bengals, but really the organization by being the head coach has been tremendous. And if you caught any bit of his press conference today, you would understand exactly what I'm saying. Um, just a class act, right? Eloquent words, full of grace, humility, peace, love, kindness, understanding, gentleness. It was everything that you would expect. And I so appreciate that. And I know Bills Mafia appreciates that as well. It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. And so I definitely want to hand out some roses to the Bengals organization. Okay. Um, and forgive me for this pause. I'm trying to read through and this is what I'm gonna have to do. sadly. Um, is I'm gonna have to read through these super chats beforehand just so I won't make the mistake that I did earlier by giving breath to nonsense. Uh Let me read it first, okay? Okay. Um the I'm gonna go ahead and put this up here. The past master comes in with a super chat. Thank you so very much for your donation. Um he says that the ref said 5 minutes to warm up. Okay. And he's talking about, or the past master is referencing um the report that we heard during the game that they were given 5 minutes to go ahead and warm up and get ready to resume action. So the ref said 5 minutes to warm up. Both coaches said forget that. Then the NFL suspended the game. Coaches, players, NFL showed class. Players' health first. Yes. I'm not too sure about the ref. I don't know about that information right there. Again, I'm just going off of what Troy Vincent said. Um, but everything else, yes, absolutely. I mean, coaches stepped in. Um, NFL suspended the game. It was class all around, right? Class all around, and I'm glad that you mentioned both coaches in that, because it leads me to the next individual. And again, thank you, Past Master, for that donation. That's going directly to the GoFundMe account of Damar Hamlin. But it leads me directly to my next point, um, the next flower that I want to give, or the next rose, and that goes out to um, Sean McDermott, right? Head coach of the Buffalo Bills, Sean McDermott. I am so grateful, right? So grateful to God that we as Bills fans can stick our chests out with pride, knowing that we have a head coach in Sean McDermott who truly and genuinely loves his players, loves them dearly. He has led this team, this organization, much like Zach Taylor has done the same for the Bengals. Sean McDermott has led this organization with the utmost class and grace. And it makes me proud that he's our head coach. When we seen in the game him take a knee and essentially put his head in his hand during this situation, um, I don't know how I don't know how you can do that. And by that I mean how you could lead these players, this team, this organization in that moment, and really in the moments that followed, without loving unconditionally. Sean McDermott deserves a ton of credit. And when we think about what Zach Taylor said today, which was just amazing, that Zach Taylor said today in his press conference, he said that during the game, when this situation transpired, and in the moment when he and Coach McDermott greeted each other on the field, and we were all wondering what was said, Zach shared this much with us. And he said that in that moment, Sean McDermott said, I cannot coach this game. I must be at the hospital with DeMar. And Zach said, that's all I needed to hear. And when you hear those words, it lets you know that you have a coach who gets it, right? You have a guy who really gets it. Because at that time, his priority was being there for his player. And it's been said that head coaches have to really, at times, take on dual roles, multiple responsibilities, right? They have to play the head coach. They have to play bad cop sometimes. Um, they have to play businessman when it comes to the way they just the business of the NFL, right? Goes about when it comes to whether or not players stay or they have to leave. They have to wear many hats. They have to play therapist in many situations because having to deal with a lot of the different personalities and understanding how to manage all of that in the locker room. And then there are moments when they have to play father to a lot of these players who just don't have father figures. And I am in no way saying that Hamlin or the guys, don't have I'm not that's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that you can see him. You can see him just after hearing that statement that Zach Taylor gave us. You know that the father in him came out, right? At that time, it was no longer head coach. He was no longer head coach Sean McDermott. He was father to a son who is fighting for his life, and he needs to be by his side. That ability.
Buffalo Fanatics, what's going on? This is Pierre the Kingpin, and I wanted to talk to you today about Cigars International, which is the ultimate destination for premium homemade cigars. Known as the industry leader, Cigars International offers the largest selection, unbeatable prices, and a customer service experience that's second to none. Whether you're new to cigars or a seasoned vet, Cigars International makes enjoying cigars easy, approachable, and fun. Cigars International is the go-to retailer for all things cigars, with the biggest selection of premium homemade cigars available anywhere. Cigars International offers unbeatable deals and discounts, making it easy to stock up on your favorite or try something new without breaking the bank. With fast free shipping and their 100% satisfaction guarantee, you can shop with confidence knowing that Cigars International stands behind every order. They have good relationship with vendors that helps provide great low prices. Whether you're new to cigars or a seasoned pro, Cigars International makes it easy to find the right cigar with helpful guides, staff reviews, and expert advice. It's not just about cigars. Cigars International also offers a wide range of accessories and more to elevate your smoking experience. Check out the great deals every day at cigarsinternational.com. That's cigars, CIGARS, international.com. Use code FANATICS at checkout for 20% off your order of $50 or more, plus free shipping. Or visit www.cigarsinternational.com/fanatics, and the discount will automatically apply. Again, use code FANATICS at checkout for 20% off your order of $50 or more, plus free shipping. Or visit www.cigarsinternational.com/fanatics, and the discount will automatically apply.
Is it's phenomenal. And so I am incredibly grateful that we have Sean McDermott leading this franchise, leading this organization. Much love and respect goes out to him and how he has been able to lead and still lead in spite of all of this that's transpired and what is still going on. Okay. And next rose I would like to give, it goes to all of the wonderful contributors to Damar Hamlin's Chasing M's Foundation and his GoFundMe account. Everybody who has contributed deserves flowers, deserves roses. It's really no surprise, right, to me when you look at just how much Bill's Mafia gets behind its players and the things that mean the most to the players, right? We've seen it time and time again how Bill's Mafia is able to come together and really support in times of need like this, right? But then it's another thing to see it happening across the entire globe. And to everybody that has contributed, you deserve a flower. You deserve a rose. According to the Chasing M's Foundation's site here, and let me remove this banner. This is the last time I looked at this. This is before I did the show here. They have been able to raise $6.7 million. $6.7 million. That is incredible. Incredible. Words cannot describe, or at least I cannot adequately put into words, how amazing that is to see. Just the overwhelming support from everybody who has contributed to that foundation. It's remarkable. It's remarkable. And I know that the family is so appreciative of that, right? Because I think we've heard from Damar's uncle talking about how appreciative they are and how they can't wait for Damar to pull through so he can look and see just the overwhelming support from everybody, literally around the world, who has done something to show their gratitude and to show their love and appreciation. Shout out to you guys. That's amazing. That is definitely amazing. And Tiffany comes in and says, "Yo, Damar is going to be so excited when he hears this." Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. When you look at the original goal, right, $2,500, and then now it's it's over $6.7 million. It's just it's remarkable. It's remarkable. And the last rose that I would like to give goes out to everybody. And I mean everybody who has prayed for Damar and his family and continues to pray for them and send their well wishes and their thoughts with him and them in this moment. You all are not forgotten in this as well. As I mentioned at the top of the show, I am a firm believer in the power of prayer. Firm believer in it. You don't have to be, but I am. And when so many are coming together collectively, lifting him up in prayer, there is tremendous power in that. There's tremendous encouragement that comes out of that. for the family, because I cannot begin to imagine what they're going through. I can't. Um, I've never been in that situation. And so I can only try to put myself in that situation, and still I come up short. They need it. Okay. They need it. They need all of the support, all of the encouragement, all of the well wishes, all of the prayers that they can get right now to help them. Because no doubt there are moments that of weakness for them. There are moments when perhaps their faith is rattled or shaken, or their hopes are shaken, right? And when they hear that there are so many out there who are praying for them, that gives them power and strength to stand up and continue to fight for DeMar, and to continue to be there for him. That's powerful. That's powerful. And so, to everybody who has done that, a rose to you. A rose to you. It is a beautiful thing, and extremely, extremely encouraging. Ah, wow. Um, the good news is that by last reports, right, that we heard, and maybe there is something else that has transpired that I'm just not aware of right now, because I'm not in front of my television, and I don't have my phone with me to check through Twitter and social media and whatnot. But um, the last statement, and let me see here if I can pull it up here. So just give me a second here. And it's encouraging news. I mean, it really is. Um, where is it at here? Please forgive me, because I made sure to bookmark it so I wouldn't um forget, and I didn't want to misquote. Yeah, here. Let me share my screen here so everybody can see it along with me. Um, this was from the Buffalo Bills earlier today. Earlier today, they put out a statement, and please, if there's another update that I am unaware of, feel free to let me know. But as of earlier today, the Buffalo Bills organization put this tweet out, and they said DeMar remains in the ICU in critical condition with signs of improvement noted yesterday and overnight. He is expected to remain under intensive care as his healthcare team continues to monitor and treat him. And there are also reports. Let me see here, because I think that I bookmarked this as well. Let me see if I can find it here. Mm, let's see. No, I did not. I did not. But correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that Jordan, um, I think that he had come out, and Jordan Rooney, I'm talking about. I think he had come out earlier today and said that DeMar Hamlin has gone from 100% um, being on oxygen to now 50%. So, and that the doctors and the medical team and everything, that they're seeing the improvements that they wanted to see. Thanks be to God for that, right? Thanks be to God for that. 100%. Uh, that's what you want. That's what you want to see. And as much as we want to immediately hear that hey, he's okay. He's fine. He's back to, himself, and we can just like exhale, a sigh of relief. This is progress. This is progress. And I fully believe that he who has begun a good work is faithful to complete it. And we are seeing that happening right now before our eyes. I thank God for the progress right now. And I'm going to continue to pray for him that we continue to see more and more progress um, as the hours and the days go on. Absolutely. We are an hour into the show. Um, and again, I can't thank you all enough for being here with me tonight. As difficult as it is, we are going to make it through this. Okay, we're doing this for Damar. We're doing it for his family. Um, and so again, I thank you, each and every one of you. You you could be anywhere else right now, but you're here with all of us tonight, and I am grateful for that. Very grateful for it. In an attempt to transition a little bit here, because um, we do have to talk about this, as difficult as it is. We do have to try to talk about this, but I will use the words of Zach Taylor again. I am so thankful for Zach because um, uh, his words were amazing today, and I'm just going to use the words that he had said today in his press conference, um, because we know that the league has made a decision to continue their Week 18 slate of games, right? And I know that there's a lot of people here um, who may agree or disagree with it, and that's fine. Everybody is entitled to their opinion and their position, and we're not going to get into any argument or whatever. Um, but regardless, um, I think Zach Taylor put it perfectly, in my opinion. And what he said today is this, and I quote, he said, "You do have to move forward as a team because we have a game to play on Sunday. But at the same time, you do not have to move past the situation that's happening right now." And I think that is a beautiful perspective to have, because I know it's difficult. It's difficult for me. It's tough for us to talk about football right now. It's tough for us to try to move on and discuss a game that's to be played Sunday. It's hard to fathom, and it is what it is. It's hard, okay, and I understand that. It's hard for me right now to even do it. But as Zach said, you have to move forward, but at the same time, you do not have to move past the situation. That's amazing, because it, there are things that happen in our lives um, that may set us back and that may, you know, uh, hold us back, and we are uh, prisoners of the moment. We have to, at times, be still, but we must find the strength and the fortitude to move forward in life. I think that what he said was a life lesson, and I don't mean to be, preachy here or whatever the case is, but it really carried a lot of weight for me with me. Um, and that we can do two things at the same time. We can make an attempt to move forward, but in our attempt to move forward does not mean we have to move past what has happened. We can still be praying for DeMar. We can still be hurting. We can still be vulnerable and at a loss for words and in need for help and in need to have conversations with professionals or with people or with ministers or whatever the case may. We can feel the need to that. We're human, but we can also try to move forward while still processing everything that is going on. And I think that is what that's what the teams are doing right now. The Cincinnati Bengals, the Buffalo Bills, right? Two teams who were right there, right there in the midst of what happened. And the rest of the National Football League as well, because I'm not going to act as if, you know, um, they're not going through anything as well. This has sent shockwaves throughout the National Football League, right? But they are trying to move forward. They're trying to move forward. And as difficult as it is, as difficult as it is, we have to do that. The team has to do that, right? And I'm glad that there are measures and things in place for the players, outlets for the players, and even the coaches and whatever, um, to help them through this process. And much like they're trying to move forward, I think it's important for us to try to move forward without moving past what is happening. And I would even go this far as to say this. Granted, I don't know the man, obviously. I don't know DeMar Hamlin whatsoever. I don't know his family. But I find it hard to believe that DeMar, in this moment, would want the entire world to stop. I think that he would want the team to move forward, for him, right? And so that's what I'm going to try to do. That's what I'm going to try to do tonight and even um, in the days to come, right? Even in the days to come. And there's a game Sunday. There's a game Sunday that's, as of now, it's going to be played, and the Bills are going to be playing the New England Patriots. And I want to talk about some of the options um, before the game. Some of the options about the Bills and Bengals that have been coming up in the NFL news, right? As far as what's the outcome and what's going to happen. Um, how is this going to pan out? How's it going to play out? Well, according to reports all day, they're saying that the league is in discussions about this, and that there is no um, at the particular moment there's nothing has been solidified as far as in playing the game. I'm talking about the Bills and Bengals replaying that game. They are discussing options, and there's a couple of options here that have been brought up, and that is at the Bills and Bengals would either plead a no contest, right, or a tie, and that the winning percentage would determine seeding and home field advantage and et cetera, right? I'm not too sure how you feel about that, Um, and there's another option that moves the playoffs back a week, right? That would essentially play week 19, um, eliminate the bye week that's between the conference championship game and the Super Bowl, and then play their game probably as the lone game in week 19. Uh, so there's a couple of options, and the NFL is discussing this right now, and I would believe that there would be no discussion being made without consulting the Buffalo Bills. Right now, what do you suggest would happen? For me personally, um, I think, and again, this is just my opinion, I, I would be perfectly fine if the Bills and see here's the kicker. Whatever decision is made by the league, they cannot make a decision without the Buffalo Bills. Right? I think they owe it to them to make this decision. And I think that I would be content if the team decided, you know what, um, we will just forfeit this game. We will take the loss in this game, considering the fact that the Bengals had the lead at the time the stoppage occurred. I would be perfectly fine with that because to me, that game is no longer relevant. That's just my opinion. It's no longer relevant. The Bills go ahead and concede it, right? Go ahead and concede it. Now, there's those of the belief that, well, that maybe they should, plead a tie. No contest, just a tie. Well, I understand that line of thinking as well. However, I don't think it's fair for there to be a tie when the game wasn't tied. You see, and I hate to sound insensitive, but if I'm the Bengals and the NFL has made a decision to either say um, tie, no contest, or the Bills say, forfeiture. If the NFL steps in and says a tie, if I'm the Bengals, I would feel I would, and it's hard for them to really even speak on it, but it would be unfair, right? Because they have the lead. So I think the only, again, this is my opinion, the only fair thing to do would be just, hey, just chalk it up, okay? We for the Bills, we don't care about that, about the outcome of that game right now. Bengals, you have the lead. We will give you the win if the NFL is willing to sign off on that. Okay. That's just what I think would be the fair thing to do. Now, as it relates and pertains to seeding, I think at this point, um, I don't think the Bills care. That's just me. I don't think they care. Right. Yeah, seeding was important. Beforehand, it was very important. But now it's so minuscule at this moment. And so that's where I lie. Um, now, as far as the game being played again, I personally don't don't see how the team could play that game unless unless before that decision is made, we get news that Damar Hamlin has pulled through. He has made a full recovery. He is no longer in ICU and intensive care, right? ICU, and he is fine, and he has given the stamp of approval to the Bills team to go ahead and play that game. Play it for me. That's the only way I would agree with them playing that game again. You know, what do you guys think about it? I'm gonna take some time right now to kind of go through the chat and see, um, just what you guys think. I want to go through and see if I missed any super chats in that time. So please forgive me here. Let me see here. I do think I missed one. So let me see if I can scroll back up to it. Forgive me. Where did it go? Uh, did I miss it? Again, forgive me. There's a lot of conversation. There it is. There it is. It comes from James. Let me take a look at it first here, okay? So forgive me for the delay. Mm. Okay, let me see, because there's some things that I agree and some things I don't agree with. James comes in with a super chat here, and James, thank you for that donation. He says the Bills will either mentally break down and lose out the rest of the year and exit first round, or they will be more united as a brotherhood and run the table and win it all for tomorrow. That's my bet. Okay. Um, I mean, yeah, I mean that's fair, right? Either or could happen. It could definitely happen. Um, I'm not one to really go that way and say that the team is gonna have a mental breakdown and lose the rest of the year and exit the first round, though that obviously could be the possibility. But I'm not. I don't think that it's fair to say that if they lose the rest of the year and they lost in the first round, that it was because they had a mental breakdown. That's not fair to say. We don't know on what would be the cause to that. Okay, um, but I do agree with your second point in that they could be more united as a brotherhood and run the table and win it all. Yes, that's definitely something that could happen. They could they could rally around Demar in this entire situation. We know that it's a real thing. It's what happens in sports. It happens, right? Teams when they're faced with certain things, they really take that emotion and they are able to channel it and go out on the field or the court or whatever their sport is and play at a high level. So I definitely think that it's possible for them to do that as well. I would love that to happen. I would absolutely would love that to happen. Um, you know, I'm still of the belief that this team has what it takes to go all the way and win it this year. I believe they will do it this year. This team is resilient, and we've seen it this entire season. Even going back to the beginning of the year, when you just really take your time and look at everything that this team has had to endure from, and not just the team, but the entire city of Buffalo, right? The entire city of Buffalo. When you go back and you think about the Tops shooting that happened, extremely tragic situation. Then you think about Kim Pagula, right? And her health situation at the beginning of well, during the off season. And then as you go into the year, you deal with the injuries that all of a sudden took place. And then Dawson Knox having to deal with the loss of his brother, bereaving that loss, mourning the loss. And he and the team having to endure that. Then you continue to go on throughout the year. More and more injuries transpire. I mean, oh, forgive me. How could I? How could I forget the loss to Micah Hyde, right? Lost for the season due to a neck injury. We had a witness, Dane Jackson, almost be in a extremely critical situation on the field in his injury. Thank God he was able to pull through. Then you see Von Miller going out, other players being injured. And then the blizzard that took place. The first one that caused the team to lose their home game against the Browns. And they had to get out of Buffalo in all of that snow. And it was just a fight just to get out of town. And they had to play that game in Detroit. And now that I say it, flowers again to the Detroit Lions organization for allowing the Bills to do that. They had to play that game on the road and then go back home to the same situation. Go back to Detroit again, Thanksgiving, face that adversity, and that's when they lost Von Miller. Come back, and then all of a sudden, here we go again. Christmas Eve game in Chicago, frigid conditions, but at the same time, when the game was concluded, the Bills were unable to go back home to their families to be with them during the holiday season because of the weather conditions in Buffalo. And then when they went back home, we saw everything that happened. And all those who are local right now in Buffalo and in the entire Western New York area, you know more than I do. A grave situation, dire situation with that blizzard where so many lives were lost. Nearly 40 lives. And correct me if I'm wrong there. Another tragedy they had to go through and witness. And then the situation that they've been faced with Monday night. It has been incredibly adverse for this team. And in spite of it all, they have found a way to remain together, to remain united as one family, and even be 12-3. How they were able to do that is beyond me. But they did it. And here they stand again amidst another obstacle, dealing with, this uncertainty with their brother and DeMar, having to face that situation and still go out on the field and play Sunday. I believe this team has been, and I hate to use this word, built for it, but they really have endured so much. They're able to dig down deep in their experiences and find a way to be galvanized as a brotherhood, as a family, as a team, an organization, and pull through. And so I'm believing that this team is able to do that. Regardless of outcomes and game outcomes, and even the outcomes of the season, regardless of that, the fact that this team is able to stick together in the midst of all of this is enough for me, right? It's enough for me. And so I truly believe still that this team has what it takes and that they will do it. I believe that they will do it. Um, and my wife has even said on numerous occasions, she said, "Babe, the Bills have to win it this year. They absolutely have to win it. when you think about everything that they have endured. They have to. They have to. And even when you look through, you know, historical records of teams who have endured certain tragic situations and within their cities, and normally that same season, the professional team wins it all. And you can go back through history. I'm leaning on that. Um, I just believe in this team. I really do. And I believe that they're going to continue to find a way as they have all season long. And I don't know where Sean McDermott got that from this year. You know, every year he has a saying, a mantra, something that the team stands behind all season long. But man, he he has been spot on. Spot on. They have to find a way to win, find a way to remain together, find a way to be a family. They've done that. And in order for them to find a way, it's funny how this happens, right? And I'm gonna try to tie this in together as I get ready to close. Sometimes maybe you if you're a believer, maybe you pray for patience, right? Because you're an impatient person and you're praying for patience. Um, more times than not, but you're gonna find out what you're gonna find is you're gonna be placed in situations that will require you to be patient. That's normally how it happens. You're gonna be placed in situations that will require you to do the very same thing that you're desiring. Oh, help me be patient. Okay, you're put in an impatient situation when you normally would go off. You see what I'm saying? And I'm sorry, I say that to say this. Now you look at the Bills and how they've been. You got Sean McDermott with this mantra at the beginning of the year: find a way. That's been their thing. That's been their theme of the year: find a way. And all season long, even before the season started, they have been placed in situations that would require them to dig deep and find a way. Find a way to win. Find a way to remain together. Find a way to stay galvanized and united. How amazing is that? And I think that that message has really stuck with this team. And here in this situation, as difficult as it is, I believe they are going to find a way to move forward, right? While not moving past the situation, but they will also find a way to move forward in this game Sunday as they are preparing for the Patriots, and they will find a way to move forward throughout the rest of the season. I just believe that, and we'll see where the chips lay when it's all said and done. We will see where the chips lay, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, I am I am so glad that you guys have been here this entire time. I mean, I'm looking right now and I see over 200 people in here. Uh, that's remarkable. And it's been quite a bit of you in here all night. Thank you so very much for your attention. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your understanding. Uh, thank you for just being here for everybody, right? Not just being here for me, but being here for one another. Being here for one another. And at this particular time, I would like to close out this show with a word of prayer. If this is not your cup of tea, then that's perfectly fine. I wish you well. God bless, and you are more than welcome to leave respectfully. Okay, but for those who would love to stay here, because we say our thoughts and our prayers are with Demar. If our prayers are with him, let's pray right now. Will you do that with me? Will you do that with me? So let's take this time and let's pray for DeMar. Heavenly Father, I thank you for this opportunity right now to speak before so many people, so many fans of this beloved team that we call Bills Mafia family. I don't take this opportunity for granted. But in this moment right now, we come to you and lift up our beloved brother, DeMar Hamlin. He is fighting for his life. An unfortunate tragedy has occurred, but he is fighting for his life. And collectively, we are coming together, asking you for your healing power to flood that hospital room right now. Continue the work that you've begun. We are so grateful that he has made this much progress so far. And we ask you to continue to do so. Pull him out of this. May he make a full recovery. Be there with him in this time. May you hear our prayers collectively. And Father, we turn our attention to his family and his loved ones, those who are there presently with him right now. We pray for their strength. May they be filled with joy, knowing that DeMar is in your hands and his situation is in your hands. Because the joy of the Lord is our strength. So bring them strength in this time of need right now. I pray for their encouragement. Encourage them. May they be inundated with words of encouragement from wherever, whether it's social media or whether it's a phone call or a visit. May they receive the encouragement they need to move forward in this situation and to continue to fight and continue to believe for DeMar. May your peace that surpasses all understanding blanket them right now. And may it guide them in this moment. May all fear be removed. Because we know and I believe that you have not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and a sound mind. May there be peace in that room. May there be soundness of mind in that room. And anybody who comes into that room with words that go against what they are believing for, that go against your word, words of negativity, words of doubt, words of fear, may that be removed in the name of your Son, Jesus the Christ. And Father, I pray for the Buffalo Bills organization, DeMar's teammates. May they be filled with a sense of peace right now as well. And may they be strengthened in this time of need to move forward, not move past. May you further galvanize and unite this team like never before. I pray, Father, for the medical staff and the medical professionals right now that are attending to DeMar Hamlin. May you give them wisdom. May your hand be with them and be upon them. And to all of those around the world who are affected by this tragedy, may you be with us all. May you give us strength. May you give us peace. May you help us. We thank you, Lord, for your work in his life. And we give you the glory. In the name above all names, the name of Yeshua, the Christ, the Son of the living God, unashamedly. I pray, we pray. Amen and amen. God bless you guys. Thank you very much. Until next time, God bless and go Bills.